Hello, this is Vu Lee, and I had some questions about how much counter space we need for the SprintRay system. You can see here I have the whole system: wash, one of each printer, and the Procure unit. And I'll go through one component at a time, show you what kind of minimum counter space you need. As far as counter depth, I recommend getting about 22 inches of counter depth. You can skate by with 20 because the printer does have deep inset feet, and so you could hang the printer over the edge of the counter if you're really short on depth, like you maybe have a 20-inch counter. I wouldn't go any less deep than 20. 22, 24 is a comfortable counter depth for the SprintRay system. The printer takes up the most, everything else is less shallow, so if you just stick that 22-inch recommendation, you'll be fine as far as counter depth. As far as counter width goes, if you look at this system, everything is on one top tier. This is how the products were designed to be used. And so this is going to be the easiest ergonomically, though I imagine this is a luxury for me. I know not everyone has as much counter space, but in case you were wondering, each of these Home Depot mechanic carts have a 33-inch width. So this is 66 inches in total counter space, and it is hanging out maybe like an inch. Well, no, actually it's not. So it is 33 inches of counter width. It is about 20 inches of counter depth on these Home Depot carts. They're called mechanic carts. They run about $250 for the stainless steel finish on homedepot.com and have lots of storage drawers. I actually particularly like having one storage drawer here to drain my Pro Wash, and so I can kind of do that hands-free. That's always really nice. And I have lots of storage for my tools and gear and stuff. Storage below for my alcohol, my resins, and that sort of thing. That's always an important consideration when you're designing a print system. So the other thing I need to do is go component by component here. Each printer is, the printers are 15 inches wide. Again, you'll need about 22 inches of depth. The hinge actually swings up to a maximum height of 27 inches. Roughly. So you need, if you have a tight cabinet clearance, you have to be mindful of that. It peaks up here at about 27 inches. So if you have a really deep upper cabinet, it might, the lid may hit it swinging up. So be mindful of that when you set aside a space for a printer. I haven't seen a lot of offices have trouble with it, but it just depends on how much height they designed into your cabinets. The wash unit is about 18¼ inches wide. It has a, the depth is much less than the printer. You could actually get away with, the minimum depth you need for this is about 13 inches. You have an absolute minimum height of 17½ inches. If you wanted to put it on a lower tier, you need 17½ inches from here, countertop to the top of the lid swing. To get it to use that one. The Pro Wash systems have a front-mounted LCD screen, so you can use them on a lower tier if you want to. The printers pretty much have to be on a top tier. Next, we go to the Procure 2 unit. The Procure 2 unit is 13¼ inches wide. The nominal depth is about 16 inches from that back spacer to the front door. Add another couple 1.5 for the handle if you absolutely must, though you do need to have it swing out forward, so you need to have that space front of it clear in order to use it. The Procure 2 has a top-mounted LCD, so unlike the printer and the wash unit, which have front-mounted LCDs, this one is going to need additional space above it. So even though the the Cure unit is maybe 12¼ inches tall, because of the LCD screen that you need to view, we are probably, I would say you need a minimum of 17 inches of vertical clearance in order to use the Procure 2 in a lower shelf situation. Again, the design team engineered everything to be used on the countertop, so if you can possibly rearrange things to make that work, that would be better. But yes, you could put the wash unit or the Procure 2 unit on a lower tier if you're willing to squat, because that's what it will probably require for that. I hope that answers your questions as far as the countertop space requirements for it. The short answer again is about 22 inches of depth and about 66 inches of horizontal counter space in order to use the SprintRay system for 2 printers. If you didn't have 2 printers and you only had 1, I would actually still have this extra 12 inches of width space to work on clearing prints, tanks, loading, and that sort of thing. You need a little extra space. For us, we have a countertop just out of the camera frame here, that acts as our workspace and sink and that sort of thing. So it is a little commitment on lab space, but as a system, it's tremendously productive and versatile because we can make pretty much anything with it at this point. So I hope that answers any questions. You can follow me at photodontist_VPR or theSimpleTooth on Instagram or here on the SprintRay Facebook user group. Thanks, and I hope this was helpful.